Welcome to Talking Giants, presented by SeatGeek. I'm your host, Bobby Skinner, here with my co-host, Justin Pennick. And we're winding down. We're about a week and a half away from training camp, a few days away from rookies and injured players showing up on Tuesday. And it was like the last time we had to get creative for an episode for the next 5.5 months. Essentially, the next 5.5 months of our episodes are already planned out. So we're going to be talking about some things we're going to be looking for in training camp. The way they run practices, storylines, personnel, that type of stuff. Justin, how are you doing in your Tiki Barber jersey?
No, Kenny Phillips jersey. Hi, Bobby Skinner. Are we winding down or winding up?
I appreciate you lying about what jersey you're wearing to save your reputation, because no one has a Kenny Phillips jersey. 21.
Disagree. Only awesome people have Kenny Phillips jerseys. I put this on. Thank God I lost weight, because I put this on and it fit me a lot more baggier when I was 12, 13 years old versus right now. I would be able to be like, 15, 16, 17, be able to basically be a teenager and wear this in 20-degree weather, because I would have layers on. It would still be able to fit over me. Hi, Bobby Skinner. I am in my Kenny Phillips jersey, not my Tiki Barber jersey. I'm
in my Stay Weird jersey.
Stay Weird. What's that? Slightly Stupid. That's that band you like. The last time that I had control on thinking of an episode topic, which I had control of today. The last time I had control of it is when your dog Lucy died, and Danny King and I did
lung cancer because she smoked so many cigarettes.
And Danny King and I did one of the best episodes that we've ever done, the Worst Fears episode. Biggest fears.
Just a disgraceful episode. All right, so we're gonna get into all of that, but first we have an announcement. Our FanFest stuff is officially planned, ready to go. We're ready to roll. FanFest 2022. So I don't know how they're doing the FanFest tickets quite yet. I don't know if people. Okay, tell us how the people could get the FanFest tickets.
Tickets for Giants Fan Fest will be available on Monday, July 18th. I'm guessing that's for regular season ticket holders. And then general admission on Thursday, July 21st. I am telling you right now to be patient, because there were people today that were trying to get Giants training camp tickets. And even though they capped it at you can only get 12 per account, 12 per person, they still had troubles, and they still had things going wrong with people not being able to get tickets, service errors, whatever. There was too many people trying to get tickets. So be patient and be, what is the word? Vigilant. Is that the word? Be vigilant in your effort to get Giants Fan Fest tickets, because training camp tickets, I don't know, if that's all sold out, but Fan Fest tickets you will be able to get. So be persistent.
So with the training camp tickets, we like to help out. I would like to say every year, but we haven't had that opportunity the last 2 years. But we did help out in 2019. So I'll say, don't ask us for tickets. We can't help you with that. But if you are somebody who has extra training camp tickets, you got some and you ended up not going on, you're not going to plan on going on that day, tweet at us that you have them. We'll quote tweet it, and then whoever sees it first and needs them, we'll go and get it from that. So that's how we can help people get FanFest tickets, but we can't actually we can't give them away ourselves. We can just help facilitate people who have extra ones.
Yes, we do not have extra ones. So tweet at us if you have them.
But our FanFest is back on Friday night this year, so it's going to get a little rowdy. It's actually going to get really rowdy putting on a Friday night. Like last year, I was like kind of lame. They put it on a Wednesday. Now I'm like, man, this might be a freaking party at
Don't
MetLife.
Bring natty daddies like Mr. Brownstone did in Charlotte. Just don't.
Unless you're Mr. Brownstone. So again, we're going to be in parking lot G, out on the curb. So, when you're driving in, you will see us, it's straight ahead of the entrance of the stadium.
You'll see the big black van.
It's going to be catered by Candlewick Diner. We appreciate and love Manny from Candlewick Diner. And we'll have, we'll just be there hanging out. And then we'll do a live show again with ourselves, license plate guy, and Chris the Entertainer. So it's going to be a lot of fun. Come out, have a good time. And then bring your own booze. That's the only thing.
And you never know who's going to stop by.
Yeah. We're going to try and get some people to stop by. No promises, but we'd like to try and get some people to stop by our our setup. So you'll meet some cool people. Last year was a lot of fun, so I was excited about that.
I have to give Art Stapleton's chair back. So I think at FanFest there needs to be an exchange. In the left hand is Art's chair. Art Stapleton reclaims his chair in his right hand. We take a picture and we like raise the chair up like it's Jesus Christos. No, The Lion King. Why did I go to the JC reference? The Lion King.
You know what? With the new iPhones, my phone, I could put it on Do Not Disturb, but I still get text notifications.
Why don't you just put the phone on vibrate?
I didn't think I need to do that. I thought Do Not Disturb did what it freaking worked. All right, so let's get into our training camp stuff, and we'll do ads and crap later.
What we expect to see at training camp. That is what this episode's about.
All right, you're leading the way on this. What is the first thing on your list, Justin?
Okay, I think I should run through my first category, since I think a lot of your things that you want to see fit my second category. So in my brain, I split it up into two different things, Bobby Skinner. I split it up into a definitive, this is what I want to see at Giants camp, and if I don't see it, it will change my expectations for the Giants season. And then the second category I have is questions of things that I want to see. So it's like, oh, am I going to see this? Are we going to see this? So I'm going to rip off the probably three. The four things definitively what I want to see. I want to see offensive success, and I have success in quotes. And the reason why I have success in quotes is not because I want to see them score a bajillion points, but I want to have a general consensus walking away from some, maybe most of the practices saying, I feel good about the Giants offense. I thought they had a solid to a good day. We have not had that in a long time. Continuity. Starters are getting reps together. Kenny Galladay's out on the field. Kadarius Toney's out on the field. You know, the guys that are kind of supposed to be healthy, they're out there on the field. They're getting reps together. That is something that did not happen last summer. The tempo and the pace of practice. I was there for the Ben McAdoo practices. I was not there for Tom Coughlin. I was there for the Pat Shurmur practices. And especially the year 2017, when the team had a lot of expectations going, stemming from 2016, I was just watching those practices, and I was watching that offense saying, this is really, really bad. They had Brandon Marshall, they had Shep, they had OBJ, but it was just really, really bad. And I wanted to force myself to change the expectations about what I thought the Giants were going to do that year, but I didn't, because I was young and I was stupid and I was too excited about that season. But then you saw a really bad team and a really bad offense. It comes from the tempo and the pace of those practices. What is a Brian Daboll practice going to look like? And then the fourth thing that isn't really a real thing, practices simulating in-game scenarios, but every practice kind of does that. So, thoughts on some of the things that I said?
With the offensive stuff, that's the big thing. Coming away, having some positive thoughts about the offense, because last year we weren't at training camp. And all the reports were that the Giants' offense was the exact same. Jason Garrett didn't change up anything. This is the same exact thing. It's curls, sticks. It's very short, quick game, pick a side, pre-snap read offense. And, everyone started, they're hiding stuff. No, these guys practice what they play, and there's no need to hide their offenses, because guess what? NFL coaches know what you run. Now, do you hide trick plays? Yes. You don't want to put trick plays out there. But NFL coaches know what you run. I remember Sean Payton, when he got COVID, tweeted out a couple plays from his playbook, and people were like, oh my God, he's gone crazy. He's giving away his plays. It's everyone knows their plays. They watch, they know their plays. So it's not even, Justin, it's how successful is the offense? Is do I like what I'm seeing from, really from the coaches?
Yes.
As with the offense. Not necessarily, I'm not going in I really want to feel good about Daniel Jones coming out of it, or, Kenny Galladay is looking crisp, even though I do want to see those things. But it really is, how is the offense run in training camp? Obviously the first week we're going to be there, it's going to be some very basic install. But that third week we're there, you're getting ready for the preseason. You're installing some of the meat and potatoes of your offense.
And that's why I said offensive success is the main, bulletin point, but it is going to be mainly a feel thing. How did we feel about the offense? It's not going to be something that Like, oh, we're going to track the completion percentage of Daniel Jones, and he has a 70% completion rate, and that's a good practice. Which a lot of the beat reporters do, and I don't think that's super helpful because
although we're going to do it.
You're going to do it?
Absolutely. Why not?
So
I'm going to be taking notes like crazy. It's a why not thing for me. It's not that I'm taking much emphasis into it, but it's a why not thing for me.
So
People
this is going to be one of
stuff.
the things that I want to ask you too is we're kind of doing this on the fly, and we really should talk about this. What are we going to keep track of? And have you thought about it? I don't know if I fully thought about it yet of things that I want to keep track of. And what can you keep track of while watching a practice?
Yeah, you'll drive yourself nuts trying to keep track of everything, but I'll keep track of hey, this guy had catches that, hey, incompletion, this, interception, blah, blah, blah. This guy made this play. One, we're going to be doing our live streams after every single practice. So, we want to be able to go back to our notes. Even though that stuff's not Daniel Jones completion percentage on a given day.
But are you going to be, I know Rosenblatt does it. Are you also going to make note of how many passes he completes, how many passes he attempts, etc.?
Oh yeah, I'm going to, it's definitely. Now, am I going to be able to keep track of every formation they run or stuff, or every blitz Martindale runs? No, I can't keep track of that stuff. In fact, me and Danny King tried to do that when we first started in 2019 in the first quarter of the preseason game, where we realized this is impossible. We can't track all this stuff and watch the game.
We'll have an intern do that one year. That'll be his sole job, and if he gets one wrong, he's fired.
We realized too that no one really cared about the first quarter formation percentage. So yeah, but yes, I mean we're doing live streams after all of them, so you want to have notes and
no. I was just curious because obviously we're going to have our general notes, but I was just curious if there was something in your brain that's I want to keep track of this, and this is what I'm going to be.
It's basically
looking for
basic stats, completions, incompletions. Yeah. Catch it, and then who caught. I'll put tallies for every guy for who they caught passes from.
Yeah, I don't even know if I care about average depth of target or how many times.
No, it's impossible to pay attention to that stuff.
Well, I mean, I think you can make a general note of, okay, this is a 0 to 9 yards, this is a 10 to 15, this is a 15 plus. I think that if you really wanted to, you can keep track of, but I don't even think I would want to keep track of that because I don't. I talk about average depth of target all the time. I talk about pushing the ball downfield. I don't know if that's really fully worth it in a training camp practice, especially because...
Well, they're installing different things every day, and that's another thing, is that there's going to be a practice where it's all quick game stuff because they're installing quick game stuff on that. And then there's going to be a time where man, they're really pushing them. Well, guess what? They're practicing 3rd and 7 all day long. So it all depends on, what the periods are. The best time where you could just get a general grasp of everything is when they do just hey, we're going up and down essentially just scrimmage. 11 on 11 scrimmages, moving the ball up the field.
Yeah, they'll usually do that towards the tail end second half of the practice. I mean,
they finish off practice with that.
Yeah. What are you feeling about the tempo and the pace of practice? So this is going to be your first time where you're going to actually see the Giants training camp. You never made your way up to Albany. Never made your way up to Quest Diagnostics to see it.
Well, I did see a Joe Judge practice in the sense that I saw Brian Flores at the Senior Bowl, and everything that was being described about Joe Judge, Brian Flores did, where they had guys on one side of the field, one side of the other, and then you see Matt Rule at that same year, and it was very different. It wasn't as fast paced, although they actually got on their guys a little more. So that. Yeah, I want to see how it is. How are they really moving through drills? Are they lackadaisical? Yeah, that's something I'm definitely paying attention to.
Because something that we heard from the spring is that it was kind of more laxed. A Joe Judge practice was more intense. Now, this is why it's important that we're going to be there, and it's not just beat reporters. Is it less intense, meaning there's less yelling, there's less screaming, and you're not running laps for your punishment for making a mistake? Or is it less intense, meaning the practices are actually less intense where,
Yeah, that's what I care about, the yelling and that, that's different on each guy's personality. It's
Right.
how intense are we moving from drill to drill?
Yes.
How much is the O-line going through install and helmets off, going through, what if they line up in 3-tech on the backside and the linebackers filling on it? Like, how do you, work that double team? Or how much are they working on, hey, we're working on sled drills, we're working on the crab, things like that. Like, how much are they working on that type of stuff versus like actual, football drills?
Right. This gets into one of the questions of things that I want to say. So I'll let you rip off. Maybe we'll go one by one. One of the questions of things that I want to say. What does the setup of practice look like? Like, how far away will the main action be from the fans? How has the technology since pre-COVID on how they record practices, how has that changed? Has the new era of technology that Joe Schoen has brought inside the Giants building, is that going to be seen or felt at all on the actual practice field itself? It's important to ask and look at how far away the action is going to be from the fans, because the telltale sign for me every year, no matter what coaching staff it was, every year at Giants training camp was, you walk in, where are the cameras? There's a lot of different bleachers that are set up. There's 5 or 6 different set of bleachers. It's insane. The Giants have to have one of the most fan turnouts for training camp out of any team in the National Football League, because they legit have it's Division II, college attendance. It's nuts. So where are the cameras set up? Because that is where the 11v11 action is going to be. So that's where you're going to sit, and that's what we're going to look at every single day before we sit down. So is there new technology, from pre-COVID? That's going to be some of the things that I'm looking at. And do they integrate moving pads, the pads that are remote controlled when they're working on tackling and stuff like that? I'm also going to be looking at that too.
Okay. Do you got anything else before I go through one?
No, give me one. I've been talking too much.
I'll go on the field one. And I hinted at this one a little bit on the last podcast. How is Darius Slayton deployed? That is something that I'm fascinated by. What does this... I just, it's been this weird feeling around Darius Slayton all offseason. How is he deployed? Because guess what? Kenny Galladay's not going to do every practice. Kadarius Toney's not going to do every practice. So do they move him up with the first team? How are they using him? Are they rotating him in with the first team? Or is he strictly second team? Are they working him with the freaking third team behind guys like Sills and Richard James and whoever? How is Darius Slayton involved in training camp? Because that's going to tell the story on if he's traded, if he's cut, or if he's actually a part of the actual offense.
Yeah, and I try to not have a lot of these players centered, because we're going to touch on a lot of these players when we actually talk about camp battles, our camp battles episode, not camp battles like left tackle versus defensive end, but camp battles meaning
position battles.
Position battles. Who's going to be wide receiver number 4, number 5, who's going to be CB2, nickel corner, et cetera, et cetera. So yeah, Darius Slayton's a huge one, and that's I think out of all of the players that we have questions on in terms of what is his role and where is he lining up during camp, I think that is the most significant one. I think I have the second most significant one next, but Bobby Skinner, can you read an ad?
No, you got to read your ad, because
Okay.
I read ads when I want to.
I started I thought Bobby Skinner was going to interrupt me. Wow. Game changer. I started taking AG1. Yes, we're talking about athletic greens. Started taking AG1 because I wanted an awesome way to start off my day. With the glass of water and a scoop of AG1, I am starting off my day fresh. I'm getting energized. That is helping me get energized with 75 high-quality vitamins, minerals, whole food source superfoods, and probiotics. Bobby Skinner, we're going to be waking up kind of early for training camp. Practices are at 10 a.m. We're probably going to want to get there at least day one. We'll see what the vibe is like in terms of how many people are there. We're probably going to want to get there at 8:30 a.m. So I'm talking about I'm waking up at 5:30, 6 a.m. I'm scooping my AG1, and I'm getting ready for the day, getting focused for the day. AG1 contains less than 1 gram of sugar, no GMOs, no nasty chemicals, or artificial anything while still tasting good. It costs you less than $3 a day. You're investing in your health, and it's cheaper than your cold brew habit. Right now, it's time to reclaim your health and arm your immune system with convenient daily nutrition. It's just 1 scoop in a cup of water each day. That's it. To make it easy, Athletic Greens is going to give you a free 1-year supply of immune-supporting vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. All you have to do is visit athleticgreens.com/giants. Again, that is athleticgreens.com/giants to take ownership over your health and pick up the ultimate daily nutritional insurance.
All right, what's next, Justin?
My player, the one player that I'm going to really hone in on this episode, what in the world is happening with Josh Azudu? Is he the swing tackle? How many reps is he going to get at left guard? Are him and Shane Lemieux going to split reps for left guard number 1? What in the world is happening with Josh Azudu?
He might be the rookie I'm most engaged with in preseason games. Because it's like Neal and Thibodeau, those guys are guys regardless. Even if they're horrible, it's like, guess what? They're starting week 1, and they're going to be a part of the team for the next 3 years in big roles regardless because of where they're drafted. Wandale, I know what Wandale is. It's definitely going to be interested. Flott is a corner, so I'm not putting too much stock in that either, whether it's too good or too bad. You remember Corey Ballantyne looked really good in the preseason, his rookie year. It's really, Bellinger, it's Azudu. It's like, how does Azudu look using his hands? Because that's really the thing I'm paying attention to most is the hand usage. And you can get a good idea of that from preseason games,
And camp.
We're
going to be there.
I'm not really focused on how well is he driving guys through. Is he, stuff like that. It's how well is he using the hands. And like you said, they were working him at left tackle in the OTAs, which I disagree with. Let the guy work on guard. Okay, you have Andrew Thomas and Evan Neal. I know that you need a swing tackle, but you drafted this guy in the 3rd round to be a starting guard. You drafted this guy 67th overall to be a starting guard eventually. So I want him working only at guard, like I said. And it's like, how well is the hand usage coming along, and how is he adjusting to the NFL?
Yeah, I 100% agree. And it's going to be really fun. You can't really tell what the coaches are saying and stuff like that. But I mean, obviously you're going to be able to tell how much are the coaches actually talking with Josh Azudu. How often are they coaching him up? You're probably, depending on where, the offensive line drills are going to be held, there's a good chance that it's going to be held a bit of ways away from the 11v11 action is going to be taking place. So Bobby Skinner may be a man on the move during training camp while he's going to watch the O-line while, me and the producer, we stand pat and we hold our seats to watch the 11v11 action. Hopefully you'll be close enough to fully see that and fully take notes on that. So I'm excited for that.
All right, my next one is on the defense. How often are they deploying 3 safeties? That's something that Wink Martindale wants to do, but they're a team that has Xavier McKinney and then Julian Love, who's not started many games in the NFL, and then your 3rd guy is a 4th-round rookie in Dane Bellin. And then you have Yusuf Corker and Trenton Thompson and Henry Black kind of battling for that 4th safety spot. How many times are they deploying 3 safeties in practice, which they supposedly did a little bit in OTAs? How are they doing that? But also, how are they using those 3 guys? Because McKinney can do a lot of things, Love can do a lot of things, and Belton could do a lot of things. So how are they deploying those guys? Are they putting Belton on man coverage versus tight ends? Or are they lining them up on there? Do they put Love in the box? Or they put Belton? When they're doing those 3 safety looks and just safety usage, and how are they using their safety usage in general, even when they're doing 2 safeties? I'm really interested in this to see how the safety room plays out, not as much as depth chart wise, but how are they using their safeties? Yeah. Because you know what? It's a different team. This is not the Ravens that Wink Martindale had, pre-injuries. So how is Wink Martindale deploying these safeties? Yeah,
I totally agree. I don't think, outside of Earl Thomas, I don't think the Ravens had a ton of how this is a household name at safety, and this is a really, really good, solid safety. They're good defenses. I'm sure there were good players up and down the board, but McKinney, maybe one of the best safeties, maybe the second best safety that Wink Martindale has had the opportunity to coach, behind Earl Thomas. So I don't know if a thin safety room and a mid safety room was unfamiliar to Wink Martindale. Did you get the chance to watch that Giants Life video today that came out?
No, I did not.
So I took a screenshot, and it's of the projector of Wink Martindale in the defensive meeting. Defensive vision. There's 5 bullet points. Fast and physical, 1 play at a time mentality, stop the run, attack and affect the quarterback, and this is what I think is the most interesting that I would love to hear him expand upon, and I want to hear your thoughts on. Maximize our personnel. What does that mean? What do you think it means?
It's kind of football talk, but it's get the most out of your star players, kind of, I guess.
I want to hear him expand upon that.
That's one of the beat reporters to say that.
That's what I said. I said at my beat reporter friends on Twitter.
So we'll get an answer on that in a few weeks. All right. What's next for you?
I don't have a ton of
the
defensive
action never
ones.
ends at DraftKings Sportsbook, especially this summer. With tons of ways to bet on all your favorite sports, you can fuel your fandom and feel the heat of the season like never before. Plus, right now, DraftKings Sportsbook is giving new customers a risk-free bet up to $1,000. That's right. Make your first bet up to $1,000, and if it doesn't win, you'll get another shot to cash in. You can throw down on all the major action for baseball, golf, MMA, and more. Plus, with same-game parlays, spreads, money lines, over-unders, and props, your betting options feel endless. Best of all, DraftKings is safe, secure, and reliable. You can deposit and withdraw your cash whenever you want. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. Use promo code JOHNBOY. Make your first deposit and get a risk-free bet up to $1,000. That's promo code JOHNBOY only at DraftKings Sportsbook. Minimum age and eligibility restrictions apply. See show notes for details. There's a lot of phone numbers in the show note details, by the way, now.
Yeah, there are.
Let's see.
I copy and paste them every single episode.
We got some new ones. 1-800-NEXT-STEP.
Oh, there's some new ones. Okay, so then I have to...
No, I'm saying since the last time I looked at it.
Oh, since the last time you looked at it. Okay.
Yeah. But the one that's my favorite is not in there. 1-800-9-WITH-IT.
Do you want to call? No, don't call on the show one day.
Hold on.
Gambling addiction is a serious thing.
I just want to see if the number still works.
Oh, 1-800 Indiana.
You have reached the Indiana Problem Gambling Helpline.
How about that?
Does work.
1-800-9-WITH-IT in Indiana. All right, what's next?
I don't have a ton of defensive ones, but this is one, and I am a sucker for this. I have a video on my phone from 2017. It is one of my favorite videos ever, where BJ Goodson absolutely fucks up. I think it's Wayne Gallman. What was his first year in the NFL?
2017.
Then he was there. BJ Goodson fucked up Wayne Gallman. And it was just beautiful.
Clemson teammates.
Form tackling. Bites the ball, shoulder, lowers the shoulder, drives, bring him down to the ground. No head-to-head. Beautiful form tackling. Joe Judge, one of the things that at least we heard he did well is practice tackling. And the Giants, despite my brain thinking that they were really bad in 2021 with tackling, they did not. They were like middle of the pack in missed tackles last year. But I remember 2020, they were pretty damn good and like they were good at swarming to the ball, everything like that. So, how will Brian Daboll practice tackling? How will they practice it? How will they approach it? How much will they practice it? That is going to be one of the things that I am definitely looking out for. In a league that is trying to maximize yards after the catch, you got to be able to swarm the ball, and you got to be able to get these ball carriers down quick.
And that's something I actually could see as being like a battle between Wink Martindale and Brian Daboll. You know, like how do they approach tackling in practice? Obviously, they're not going to be bringing guys down and full compete periods, but like how much do they practice that? Like, are they wrapping up? You know, those type of things. All right, speaking of some disputes, the next one is, how does Brian Daboll handle fights?
Oh,
We got some rumors of some in OTAs. We got confirmations of some in OTAs. There's always going to be fights in training camp. That's, there always will be, no matter what. They could be, small, tiny ones, or they could be huge ones. How does Brian Daboll, loosey-goosey, Mr. Everything's Relaxed guy, how does he handle fights? After the first one, is there any punishment? If there's not, after the second one, is there any punishment? And if after the third one, do we start talking about how he maybe not have, the greatest control of his practices? Guys not respecting him, like that type of stuff can spiral quickly. Type of stuff does matter. So that's going to be my thing is I love fights. Coaches love fights, even though they won't admit it. But it's how do they handle fights? Like, and just discipline in general. Like, is there any punishment? Obviously there's not going to be running laps. Even if Brian Daboll believed in running laps, he wouldn't do that just because you can't do it after Joe Judge did it already. But like, is there discipline for penalties or mistakes? Like that's something I'm looking forward to seeing. Is there any discipline, or do you just not even address it?
The offensive staff and the defensive staff, like even just think about the positional coaches too. I don't think they could be more different people. Like even the defensive line coach. I could see him being a little bit of an intense dude, old school guy. Wink Martindale's definitely an old school guy. You watch the Giants Life video, and Wink Martindale is electric, by the way. Like just electric behind the camera, electric when he's mic'd up on the field. It was a very, very fun watch on the Giants YouTube ad. And then Mike Kafka he's not boring because it was just cool to hear him talk and it was cool to hear some of his backstory, but just very, very different from Wink Martindale. So, I mean, I kind of expect the defense to be policed itself by Wink, but what is that offense going to, how is the offense going to be policed? What is the accountability going to be there? Oh, speaking of accountability, I found something very interesting, Bobby. There's an acronym that was in the Giants special teams room. There was a special teams meeting with Thomas McGahee, and there was an acronym on the back wall. TRAIL. Trust, respect, accountability, integrity, loyal. Now, I'm all for acronyms. I don't think that's a good one, because what don't you want to be doing in a football game? Trailing.
That's true. Acronyms are overrated in general.
Somebody
in my college, ours was long. We didn't turn it into it wasn't an acronym, but we had like I, Y, D. It was God, I can't remember. It's been so long. It's been literally 10 years. If you don't want to, you don't have to be an oldie. So and we literally had the initials for all of that. It was so.
Tezzy 905 had a point that made me laugh.
Our coach made us put who we're playing for this season, and I just said Brevard County. Like on
this
our
is one of those moments we look back on and say we should have known.
What?
With an acronym, with the acronym being TRAIL.
Oh, okay.
He said this is one of those. This may be one of those moments that we look back on and say we should have known.
Yeah.
Got a kick out of that.
All right, I got one more. How many do you have left?
I have 3 because we have one of the same ones.
All right, do the one that's not the same one.
Personnel grouping frequencies. How often are they going to be practicing with Saquon Barkley flanked out as receiver? How often are they going to have 2 running backs on the field? How often are they going to have Kadarius Toney and Wan'Dale Robinson lined up as running backs? Like, yeah, they could do it once in a blue moon, but that's not going to really sell me on, okay, they're going to be doing it somewhat often. If we see some of these funky formations, and especially like 4 wide receiver looks, how often are we going to see that? If we see it somewhat often, then I'll kind of buy into it. But if we don't see it super often and we just see it once in a blue moon, that I'm not going to fully like buy into it and go on the Kadarius Toney PPP if that's scheduled later in the month saying, oh, I think we're going to see him at running back a decent amount. So there you go.
Yeah, and they might even line them up in the backfield. Doesn't mean they're going to hand them the ball off. It could be, put them on a swing pass, put them on an angle, put them on a go. And that's something when Saquon Barkley has been talked about, like using him in the receiving game. Like, remember his receiving touchdown versus Washington week 16? That was just 4 verts. They put the tight end on a crosser and they put Saquon Barkley up the seam, and you had a wide open touchdown and a good read on Daniel Jones for like a 33-yard touchdown. So that's the type of stuff. It's like how not necessarily are they giving handoffs to Wandale or Kadarius. It's where are they lining these guys up and how are they using them, and what type of motion. Not simple, not stale motion. All right, the last one I've got, and this is something that Kevin Stefanski and the Cleveland Browns taught me, and something that I want now, is how do they approach sacks in practice? Because obviously the quarterback's on the red jersey, so you don't tackle them. Do they let plays go? Do they, call them dead? Do they maybe give them 1 second after there's a supposed sack? That's something that I never knew coaches did. Like, my mindset was always like, hey, it's training camp. You let the QB throw. You don't call plays dead in training camp. Now, I don't know if the Giants necessarily could have done that last year anyways, because the Giants' offensive line was so bad that they wouldn't have been able to run a practice. But something I would like to see is at least at some points, like, call the play dead when it's a sack. Like, kind of beat into their mind. Like, there's consequences for not getting the ball out on time in this spot. And learning when to pick and choose your battles and this type of thing. So I think that's something that matters, because, you can go all of camp and you're not really, you're cognizant of it. You're worried about it, but there's no consequences to it that it can, it can slow the season down. So that's something that the Browns did last year in our inter squad practices. And that's something I think I'd like the Giants to deploy.
I have an 8-second clip from the Giants Life video. It doesn't sound like you want me to play it.
No, I don't, because I don't want you to poke a hole in the balloon.
All right, then I won't play it.
Yeah, because you're poking a hole in like one of my biggest talking points of training camp.
I'm gonna play it anyway.
I was gonna say, just play it at this point.
Attack and affect quarterback. Think we've been doing that? They don't even know how much it's happening right now, right? Because there's not going to be any sacks called. Attack and affect.
You probably can't be able to hear that, but here's the last line. Because there's not going to be any sacks called. Yeah, that is what Wink Martindale said in a meeting. So
that's one thing I'm paying attention to that I will figure out quickly.
So at least in the spring, they weren't calling them. Hopefully that changes sometimes in training camp.
Something I do like, though? It's freaking SeatGeek.
Wow.
Today's episode is sponsored by SeatGeek. How about that? What a freaking coincidence. I just brought them up and we happen to have an ad for them. Live events are back, which means you get $20 off tickets at SeatGeek with promo code GIANTS. Somebody in the YouTube comments, by the way, was like, hey, what's the promo code again? Which they could have just hit rewind. But anyways. Actually, you know what? We didn't have a SeatGeek ad on that episode. That's my bad.
No, we didn't.
But we're always presented by SeatGeek. So take that back. If you don't know what SeatGeek is, they're a ticketing app that makes buying tickets super simple. I've got the app on my phone now that I have 132 gigabytes of storage. I don't have to delete it after I use it every time, whether it's football, concerts, basketball, baseball, which we're going to use it to go to a Yankee game versus the Mariners, or more. SeatGeek puts tickets from all over the web in one place to make buying simple. SeatGeek rates every ticket from 0 to 10 to make sure you are getting a good deal. Green means good, red means bad. Every ticket on SeatGeek is backed by their buyer guarantee, so you can shop for tickets with confidence. Don't worry, we've got the hookup. Use code GIANTS for $20 off at SeatGeek. That's $20 off your first purchase with promo code GIANTS. Make sure you click the link in the description to download the application.
The Yankees are playing the Orioles next Sunday, the 24th. I will be there.
How about that?
In Baltimore. And I use SeatGeek to get the tickets.
Word up. All right, next one.
I have one more, and I'm going to...
Last one.
I had two more, but I'm going to frame it into one because I'm that good. Who is going to take control and leadership of the team? Like, are we going to be able to really maybe kind of note, oh, Leonard Williams is very, very vocal. Oh, he's very, very, physical with like the teammates, the defensive guys. Like he's trying to rough them up, trying to get them pumped up, et cetera, et cetera. Are we going to be able to see that? will anyone stand out from afar, in terms of, grabbing onto that leadership? Because that's something that we talked about. Talked about it with Research Rick, talked about it a few times this offseason. This team is kind of searching for that alpha dog leader of who is really going to hold these guys accountable in terms of guy in the locker room. And also the youth movement. We know that coaches are a little bit reluctant to maybe sometimes play the young guys. This team may not have a choice to play the young guys, but how devoted is this new regime, Joe Shane, Brian Daboll, how devoted are they to really playing the young guys? And are we going to see the youth movement in training camp right away? That's it.
Yeah, I had a bunch where it's it's basically like the youth movement. I'm very interested about how they used Cordell Flott, which we'll save for our camp position battles. Here's another one. At what point do they trade for a cornerback?
At one point do they trade for a cornerback? We've
traded for cornerbacks. We've traded for 3 cornerbacks the last 2 years during training camp. Name them.
Well, Isaac Adom was not an in-camp trade.
Wasn't it?
He was week 2. Because I think Antonio Hamilton started week 1, and then Isaac Adom came on after that.
No, Corey Ballantyne started week 1. You're thinking of 2019.
Ooh, zing! All right, so we'll just say Isaac Adom is 1. There was 3? Oh boy, I have no clue. 2019 there was 1? Because there's Ballantyne, Grant.
No, that was in camp. Wait, I think.
Oh, you just said.
Yeah, it was in camp. It was at the end of camp.
There's traded 3. For 3.
So we traded for Isaac Adom. Now there's 2 other guys we traded for. Cornerbacks.
I don't know.
Josh Jackson for Isaac Adom.
Oh yeah.
Did Josh Jackson get I don't think he got a single snap for the Giants.
No,
I'm gonna look up his.
No, weren't we kind of like?
Man, I was like,
okay.
Well, no, we were kind of like, why would they trade, a guy who started all these games for them for last year for someone they're going to cut?
Because remember special teamer? Who was that special teamer from Houston?
You don't remember him? Come on, dude.
He got a sack against Kansas City.
Keon Crossan.
What's his fucking? God damn it!
He's going to get us a comp pick back.
Yeah. What, a 7th rounder?
Yeah, he didn't play a snap for us.
No, we got a sack against Kansas City.
He's on the Cardinals now. We waived him in the end of October.
Who got that sack against Kansas City?
Keon Crossan. I said it 19 times.
You said he didn't play a snap for the Giants. So I was like,
I'm talking about Josh Jackson.
Oh, Josh. Yeah. Obviously, Josh Jackson didn't play a snap.
But remember, Dan Duggan is like, Josh Jackson's going to get cut. Josh Jackson, and I kept on being like, why? Why would they trade Isaac Adom when they're thin at depth at cornerback for a guy they're going to cut?
That was nuts.
That was nuts. All right, that's an episode.
Wait.
What?
I kind of want to. Here, I'm going to end it with tips for training camp. I may say this again at the top of an episode, but if you're listening this far, we're in training camp mode. General tips of training camp that I've learned: get there somewhat early. Bring some waters. Bring some stuff that'll keep you cool because it gets kind of hot. Dress light. I'm not going to be wearing any jerseys. I have no information about autographs with kids and stuff like that. They should do that. I hope they do it. But get there kind of early because the line can kind of pack up. Because especially once those bleachers get packed and they get crowded with people that are going to be sitting and watching the main 11v11 action, seats can be kind of bad. And if you don't have 20/20 vision, it can kind of suck. So get there kind of early. I'm going to be very interested to see, where do you sit, and will it be known right away by where cameras are located, et cetera, on where to sit. So that's at least day 1. I'm just going to tell you, wherever there are cameras, whenever there are big poles with something in the sky, sit near those bleachers because odds are that's where the 11v11 action is. And that's the training camp tips that I can tell you that are the most important. Scream, Saquon! Saquon!
Dude, what was the story that some kid yelled at Daniel Jones his rookie year, and people wrote stories on it? And it's like, I got so mad at it.
Oh, I know. I don't remember this. I now want to find this.
Here, I will find it right now. I got so mad that they wrote a story at it.
Odell! Oh my God! For years, I love the kids. Love the kids, but like, oh my gosh, like he's not gonna come over to you. I'm sorry. He's not just gonna come over. Damn. Pissed. You're a goober.
Let me find it. No, he's like, you weren't worthy of, I don't know, something that.
Yeah, a kid yelled that.
Yeah. It's like, why are we writing a story on some dumb kid listening to his stupid dad?
Because he was getting second team reps and there was nothing else to write about.
Hold on.
He got second team reps until like the final week of preseason. Why? Eli. Still didn't make sense.
Oh, I found it. Young Giants fan tells Daniel Jones he didn't deserve to be number 6 pick.
Who wrote it?
Can
I guess? Can I guess? Art. I think Art wrote that.
No, it wasn't Art. It was for the Giants Wire, but it's no longer available. The story.
Damn.
I don't think Benton would write that.
I'm gonna. No, we have to ask Benton. We have to go in the archives. Do you remember this?
I said, are we seriously writing stories about what a child yelled from the stands? I think I might have to go to camp and yell out Daniel Jones' deep ball numbers and how he operates it.
That was when you were a big Daniel Jones stand defender.
What a joke.
Just yell, Daniel Jones was 22 of 30 from 20-plus air yards, 2018 Duke. Just yell that. Get your point across.
All right, that's an episode. We'll be back on Tuesday with our last mailbag for 6 weeks or whatever. I mean, basically until the week of game day, or week 1 game day. So we will see you on Tuesday for our final mailbag before training camp. And then, I mean, rookies are reporting, injured players are reporting, QBs start reporting. So we're going to start cranking out through some news. So I'm very excited for all that. So we appreciate you guys. Enjoy your weekend, because these weekends are going to stop not being Giants related very soon. So we appreciate you guys. Until then, let's go Big Blue.